I know you're tired of being stuck in your 9 to 5 job. You have this confidence that there is a better opportunity for you out there, but you're just stuck. You find it difficult to break out of that 9 to 5 trap. You're not alone. The thing I would like to make you understand is that going away from your 9 to 5 and starting your own business does not just start from you leaving physically. It actually starts from you leaving your mindset behind. And what does that mean? There is a need for you to shift your mindset before you shift from your 9 to 5. In this particular video, I'm going to walk you through how you will shift your mindset from that 9 to 5 mindset that has kept you bound all along to a point where you begin to think differently, and that will enhance your movement from your 9 to 5 to a paid employment. Stay tuned, and I will be back in a moment. Welcome back. My name is Monday Akimia, and every week I bring you videos that help you as you try to navigate your way from a 9 to 5 job to becoming a self-employed or an entrepreneur. If this is the first time you're coming across my video, do well to subscribe to this channel, like the video, watch to the end, and don't forget to leave a comment and share with those in your circle. Now, in this particular video, like I said before the break, I'm going to walk you through how you're going to shift your mindset to that will help you escape the 9 to 5 mentality. Now, the first shift that your mind needs to go through is to shift from being a task follower to a problem solver. So you must shift your mind away from that which follows task to that mind that solves problem. If you cannot achieve that, then there will be a problem moving from 9 to 5 to a paid employment. So shifting from someone who follows task to someone who solves problem is quite a difficult one, but it's something that you can do. It's something that you can achieve. Now, for where you work, what happens daily is that somebody plans tasks and then give those tasks to you to follow. So your superior could come and say, prepare this memo. Your superior could come and say, prepare this mail, contact this customer, and set up a meeting, and so on and so forth. So different tasks coming to you, but all prepared by someone else who definitely will be your superior, or probably the owner of the business at which you work. So if you look at that, you will see that this daily routine will condition your mindset to always receive instructions. It conditions your mindset to always follow task. So, and if you have been in that or on that job for a very long time, it simply means that your mind has been conditioned for that length of time. So your mind is tuned to always following instructions, always following tasks, and it becomes very difficult for your mind to start thinking on problem solving. So you need to be deliberate. You need to be intentional at shifting away from that mindset that constantly and, should I say, judiciously follows task. you need to shift away from that mindset. And that will take you deliberate and intentional action to do that. All right. So that's the first thing you must do. Be deliberate, be intentional at moving away from someone who follows tasks to someone who solves problems. Now, to solve problems, it requires you to first of all identify the problems. And once you have been able to identify the problems, then you can go ahead and try solving the problem. Now, that is where you start from. Shift your mind away from following tasks to becoming a problem solving mindset. And that is how entrepreneurs think. Entrepreneurs do not follow tasks handed over to them by someone. Instead, they identify problems and provide solutions to those problems. And that is what you want to start doing in order to help your mind shift from that of an employee to that of an entrepreneur. All right. So the second shift that you need to take your mind through is shifting your mind away from thinking like someone who earns income based on time to someone who earns income based on value. Now, as an employee who works 9 to 5, the salary or the wage that you get is based on the time that you put into the job. But for entrepreneur, the income that they make is based on the value that they provide. So if you want to break out of the 9 to 5 trap, then you need to start thinking of providing value. Start thinking of earning income based on the value you provide. So how do you now begin to provide value? Number one, you need to work on yourself to become valuable. Make yourself valuable. That is one way that you can begin to think on how to provide value. Make yourself valuable. When you make yourself valuable, then it becomes easier for you to place a price tag on the value that you can provide. So you shift away from time-based thinking to value-based thinking. An employee is time-based because his employer pays for his time. An entrepreneur is value-based because clients and customers pay for the value they get. So if you want to break out of the 9 to 5 cycle, you need to start creating value. So like I said, make yourself valuable by building capacity, building skills. So you make yourself valuable, and then you can place a price tag on every value that you can give. So now you are not selling your time for money. Instead, you are providing value for money. Now, the value can be an idea. It can be a product. It can be a service, whatever. That can be the value that you create. And there are people who are willing to pay for the value you create. That is what entrepreneurs do. So they don't sell time, they create value, and then they get paid for the value that they create. So for you to shift your mind away from a time-based person who sells his time for money, you need to be deliberate and intentional. So be deliberate, be intentional, and shift your mind away from time-based thinking to value-based thinking. Now, the next one I'm giving you is that as an employee, there is this fear of failure. You don't want to fail because you think or you believe if you fail, your employer is going to feel disappointed. However, for an entrepreneur, when he fails, he sees that failure as part of his learning curve, which means once he fails at a task, he has learned one way of not doing that particular task. So he tries a different method. If it happens that he fails again, then he sees it that he has learned two ways of not doing that particular task. And that is how entrepreneurs think. For an employee, the fear of failure is always there because you know your employer will feel disappointed that you have failed, and that might even have an impact on your job and the income you earn. So there's this constant fear of failure in the mind of the employee. You are scared of failure. However, an entrepreneur embraces failure as part of his learning curve. So instead of the entrepreneur to see failure as being failed, that as him failing, he sees failure as him learning something new. So what that means in a nutshell is that failure brings opportunity to learn something new. That is how the entrepreneur sees failure. And that is quite contradicting to how the employee who works 9 to 5 views failure. So the employee is scared to fail, and you must shift your mind away from that point where you are scared of failing to the point where you embrace failure as a part of your learning curve. That is what entrepreneurs do. So if you are dreaming of moving from 9 to 5 to becoming a business person, then the earlier you begin to think like an entrepreneur, the better. Earlier you begin to embrace failure as a part of your learning, the better it will be for you. Now, the last shift I'm going to give in this video is that you must work deliberately and intentionally on shifting your mind away from that which thinks, I can't afford this, I can't do this. You shift it to that which says, how can I do this? How can I afford this? How can I accomplish this? Now, entrepreneurs ask questions on how to do this. How can I afford it? How can I accomplish it? How can I achieve this? But the employee is always afraid. He's scared. So instead of asking how he or she can afford this, he or she says, I can't afford this. All right. So the employee is thinking about resources, but the entrepreneur thinks about resourcefulness. So resources is limited and can only provide you with limited things. But resourcefulness will actually bring in money because resourcefulness is value. So you must shift your mind from always saying, I can't, to thinking, how can I afford it? So it's just a thin line between the thinking trajectory of the employee and the thinking trajectory of the entrepreneur. It's a thin line. But then, no matter how thin that line is, it's a difficult line to cross. You must be deliberate, intentional when you're trying to cross over from 9 to 5 to self-employed or business person. You must be deliberate about it. And that is all there is to it. So shift your mindset before you quit to start your business. All right? Shift your mindset first. Don't just quit with that mindset of an employee and dive or delve into business. If you do that, you might crash even before you land. It's very important that you take this to heart. So while the journey is a difficult one, it takes persistence and resilience for you to conquer. All right? Don't be a follower who follows. Instead, be a thinker who solves problem. Don't say you can't. Instead, say, how can I afford it? And those are the steps you need to take. Now, if you found this particular video useful and valuable to you, do well to subscribe to this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please like and follow this page. I'll see you in my next video. For now, stay blessed and enjoy the rest of your day.